My name is Thelonius Cook, and I'm the owner and operator of Mighty Thundercloud Edible Forest, which is located on the eastern shore of Virginia in Northampton County.
I actually got started farming for two main reasons. One, it was family-owned land. So my primary goal was to reclaim the land and also to produce healthy, nutritious food, for myself, family, and surrounding community. I realized that I needed to find resources for beginning farmers. So I discovered two entities. It was Future Harvest's Beginning Farmer Training Program, and it was also USDA resources, and I found the NRCS. One of the things I did my first year was plant a cover crop in 2015. So in parallel to doing an apprenticeship on a different farm, I thought, let me start rehabilitating this soil ahead of when I was going to start actually farming. I did try a little small area, but the rest of it, I cover cropped, I limed because it was so acidic, and really just tried to get the soil ready to be farmed. I've really tried to manage it as a natural ecosystem, trying to minimize really my impact, both in terms of carbon footprint. And my philosophy is to use natural ecological methods, so that means not spraying any herbicides, pesticides, and really trying to use internal controls, for pest management, weed management, nutrient management.
I've learned over time some of the things that I was already doing actually can trace their origins back to Africa, and that's things like crop rotation, which is a major foundational piece of farming in Africa. They understood that you need to allow the land time to replenish itself, so you need that rest period. Without having a huge amount of acres, I do a smaller rotation, but it's still the same principle. And then you see very little landscapes that are just monocropped when you go to Africa. So you'll often see I intercrop a lot. I try different combinations, variations of plants. And a lot of it is just observation, so it's less scientific and more intuitive. The drainage for number one is the biggest improvement since I started implementing these practices. We're actually on the lower part of my farm, and I remember when we did this hoop house, there was concern of it potentially being a flood zone. And that was a real concern because before I started farming, you would see pools of standing water here after heavy rains. And then also just the microbiology, the life, the organisms in the soil. It's much more loose, well draining, and then you can actually find, earthworms and things like that inside. When I built the first hoop house, I wanted to identify niche crops as well as high value crops. Now I just got obligated to build another hoop house through NRCS. So then that will allow me to next year, instead of doing this hibiscus back in hoop house 1, I'll move it into the new hoop house and I can do a much longer rotation. When I got started, there wasn't a whole lot of younger generation farmers. So most of my peers were in their 70s. And so I pulled from them, as well as going through the Beginning Farmer Training Program with Future Harvest. That placed me on a mentor farm. And then any opportunity I had, to do a farm visit, whether through UMES's Small Farmer Program or Virginia State's Small Farm Program, I just started to go everywhere and just soak up as much information as I could. I think it's important for African American youth, to be able to come out here and connect with the land, get their feet in the soil, and really kind of recapture a pastime or a piece of our heritage. I definitely feel like a bridge, and I didn't realize this until people started asking me questions, and then I realized, oh wait, I've been farming for X amount of years now, and there's a new generation coming behind me. And so I feel like that bridge in between like the elder farmers who kind of poured into me, and then me sort of, you know, passing that on to the folks behind me. And I think that it's healing for us to be out here. It's been healing for me, so I want to create a space that can be healing for others.